call the Washington Bruce Romeo Parks and Rec and Star Transportation Commission meeting to order. It's Thursday, February 19th, 2026. Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Phyllis.
Mr. Billick.
Here.
Ms. Dembski.
Here.
Ms. Duna.
Here.
Getter.
Here.
Mr. Carey.
Here.
Are all here.
Any changes anybody sees to the agenda or anybody needs to make to the agenda?
Can I just add,
Nope.
under updates,
Yes.
about Crystal Diamond? Crystal Diamond's lighting. It's 8G.
Oh, I see.
I'm just gonna
I got it.
tell you about it, if I can just add that,
Okay.
or where it's at.
And then I just have a question. Where it says Washington Agreement closed session, are we planning to go in closed session?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I got the updated.
Clara brought it with her.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh, I did, yes, for sure I did.
We spoke earlier.
I thought I sent it with the picture of,
Did I miss it? Did you? I got it.
The picture of what?
that you actually, the square footage, the
Oh,
diagram.
okay, so that one we're going through. That was a while ago, right?
No,
know
I
if I
would say
saw
like
it.
within the last 2.5 weeks, probably right, or, well,
I'll check.
it's possible it could be in my draft
Okay.
if you didn't get it, because that's been known to
Did you
happen.
get it, Michelle? I don't think
I
did
don't
either.
remember seeing it either.
Yeah.
Okay. So Dan sent
In
I
our
guess,
last meeting, that was what we were gonna look at was see what I got from Dan.
Either way, you have copies with.
I do. Yeah,
Oh, well,
of all of them.
Okay.
Oh, well,
And I have the
I
one
think
that she
that's,
got last
yeah,
month.
it
Yeah.
should be
Yeah.
fine,
Last
as
month.
long as you have them with you.
I'll stop looking.
Yeah.
Oh, last
Yeah, I
month.
think we're good.
Yes.
Yeah, there were just a couple of things, like, I thought we were supposed to go through it, so I sent notes to
Okay.
Dan, and
Okay.
he sent them back. I thought I sent everybody this pretty thing.
And I may
after.
have missed it too.
Okay.
So,
It wasn't with
I
the
do
packet.
have the
It was
email
after.
from Dan.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I do have the email from Dan,
Oh, yeah.
so it's probably on that. So I can print those if we need them.
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay, so,
I haven't.
good, cool.
Come on, I'm always prepared,
Yes.
right?
I have several commentaries to make on subjects related to parks and facilities. Would you have me make those under community comments, mission comments, or in addition to? And I can
Community
describe
comment,
what the subjects are.
community comment.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of Crystal Diamonds.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, consent agenda. Problems with the minutes, accounts payable, the treasurer's report.
I found one type.
Tell Phyllis.
Sorry. On page 4, under D, asset management, it says Ms. Billick instead of Mr.
Depends how I was feeling that day.
Under what?
D, asset management, project proposal.
Guess that-
The motion was seconded by Ms. Billick.
Oh, got it. Oh, no, I've got Mr. I must have fixed it.
Oh,
Oh, no, there it is. I see. I got it. Okay.
that's it.
That's it? Motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the edit of Mr. Billick. But just a note that the treasurer's report is not included in here.
Oh, did I say it was?
Yeah.
I figure everybody had it already.
That's okay.
Oh, I'll second, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Legal counsel's not here tonight. Community comments. Anybody? Step up to the podium there, Mr. Tom.
Thank you. Honorable Commission members and ladies and gentlemen, good evening. For the record, my name is Tom Matthews. I'm the alternate commissioner of this organization representing Washington Township. I have several subjects I'd like to present to you today that I think are of importance. The first one is Aikman Park, which to me is not much of a park. Now, I went back and I looked at the master plan from 2017 to 2021. Mentioned in there in 2018 and 19 were the plans to add amenities to that property, such as park benches and so forth. I say we revisit that again for a number of reasons. Number one, if you look, which I did recently, at the Macomb County Orchard Trail, look at its graphical track between 26 Mile adjacent to the West Road area. I think there's something of a facility there. Between that point and 32 Mile, there's nothing for the park people to wander off to enjoy the summer day. Now, there is a parking lot at Aikman, but that's it. And I went and looked today, there's one garbage can. So my proposal is we consider adding some amenities, such as park benches, tables, maybe an outhouse, some garbage cans, and let's be creative, a solar-powered light that maybe plays music during the day. Let's enhance the park because people use that trail, and I think we can do that for a modest fee. And number two, it was, for some reason, excuse me, shown on the master plan from 18 and 19. I copied those pages, took a picture of them this morning. So I would like to consider we do something in that respect. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. Lastly, I have had some citizens comment to me, and I'm a daily visitor to the Washington Activity Center. I go there every morning for 1 to 2 hours, and I've gotten into the habit of talking to the citizens. You know, there's a lot of people in there that do carving, they do sewing, they do all kinds of things. There's taxes upstairs. There used to be Toastmasters, the ladies that make the carpets for the homeless people, etc. And I'm getting input, and it's a question for your consideration. And someone told me, several people told me, that prior to COVID, that facility was open till 4 o'clock at night instead of 3. So Claire and I had this discussion last night, and I'm just suggesting we visit that and decide if it's appropriate to open that extra hour. Obviously, we don't want to spend money for personnel if it's not necessary. But I think in some cases it would be. I had the carver, his name is Jim Sabina, mentioned to me, he said, we have these training sessions on the 2nd floor, and it's difficult for us to set up, train, and clean up the floors from all the shavings. It would enhance our work if we were able to extend our hours of operation 1 more hour, let's say on Thursdays. So the bottom line is maybe we don't have to do this across the board, but if we could consider usage on request, maybe we could set up a communication link to the citizens who may be open-hearted to come, because as you know, older people are sometimes reticent. And me being an older person, you know I'm not reticent. I'm going to say something to you, but I'm going to come to you with the facts and not just with gibberish. So I ask that we consider visiting that topic. All right, and that concludes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, we'll move on. Clara, you're up.
Okay, so Hoxacres, Kayla from Spalding and Decker is here for, to give us a presentation to kind of tell us what has been in the plans and everything about this piece of property.
Thanks, Clara. And thanks for allowing me to come speak with you all tonight. As Clara mentioned, my name's Kayla Malden. I'm a senior planner with Spalding Decker, and I serve as the planning consultant for Washington Township. But I'm also a Bruce Township resident, so I'm super excited to be here. It was a 5-minute drive for me to get to the office today. I have a 2-year-old who loves hanging out in the parks and gets quite upset if I don't let her come after school. So thanks again for this opportunity. I wanted to talk to you about conceptual plans that we've put together for Hoxacres Community Park in Washington Township. And some of the next steps that we're looking at towards implementation, and then talk to this commission about a potential agreement to move towards a grant application and local match. So how many of you have been out to this site or went to Hoxacres when it was a working horse farm? Okay, a few. All right, awesome. So for anyone who doesn't know, this is out on Mound Road between Orchard Ridge Church and the coming Cantor Farm single-family residential development just north of Gilchner. And within the next couple years, we're actually expecting to have pathways complete from this park all the way to the Macomb Orchard Trail. So Washington Township has a really robust pathways program and has been working to build that out. We have one segment left, and there's a development coming into the just east of this site here. So once that's built, we'll actually have that continuous connection. So super excited about this site. It's also kind of the northern border of where residential development has spread through Washington Township. And so the township is looking at it as a sort of greenbelt buffer to have that transitional space between residential and agricultural uses. Sorry, I didn't mention 27 acres, 18,000 square feet of house and barn space that remain on the site. And there's kind of 3 distinct pieces here. We'll get into it a little bit with the conceptual site plan. But this area has those existing farm structures and is where we're looking at doing some of the recreational programming. In the middle here is actually state regulated wetland. So looking at nature trails. And then these back 10 acres, I'll talk about a little bit more, but we're actually doing some research and some now to figure out how we can continue to use this for agriculture. And maybe create a program where we have startup farming and small farming as a way to preserve that heritage in this area. So again, for those of you who haven't been out to the site, these are just some pictures to give you an idea of the mix of amenities that are here currently. There is an existing farmhouse that's in decent condition, I would say. We're hoping to be able to reuse that space in addition to some of the barn structures, but we haven't got to that point yet. This is a picture in the top middle of that wetland area and the pathway that currently exists through it. This is how they got farm equipment back into those 10 acres. So that's something we'd be looking to reuse. And then this is pathway that Washington Township recently installed along the frontage of Mound Road. So already connected on our 8-foot wide pathway system there. So Washington Township asked us probably 6 months ago now to do some engagement around this site and start to think about phased site plans to be able to open it up to the public for community park and recreational uses. At that time, they weren't really sure what they wanted to do with the site. They knew that recreation was important, but so was natural space preservation. And so they asked us to talk to stakeholders first about what was feasible, especially with our partners, and then to do a little bit of public engagement as well. So as we started that process, we actually started with your 5-year parks plan, in addition to the Washington Township master plan, but really focusing on that parks plan so we could understand what programming already exists in the tri-community area and what gaps you all had identified in your plan and would want to fill that potentially we could address through this site. So we started there looking at your goals, priorities, engagement summaries, and past plans. And it was great because you had your recreation plan underway at that time. So we worked closely with Clara to make sure that one, Hawks Acres was identified somewhere in that plan if we wanted to go for future grant applications, but also that we understood what types of amenities residents were looking for. And then we had several partner meetings over the course of the spring and summer, just meeting to understand programming needs, but also how maintenance occurs, what the capacity of Parks and Recreation would be, and also how different entities would want to get involved. So we engaged Macomb County staff. We talked to their Green Macomb program, in addition to some staff in their Planning and Economic Development department. We worked with Romeo Community Schools, and they're actually helping us with this project as well, which I'll talk about in a minute. We met with the Huron-Clinton Metro Park staff to see if they had any interest in doing any programming or taking over any space out here. And then we also met with some specialty groups like the Michigan Barn Preservation Network to understand what resources were out there for refurbishing some of those old farm structures. And then we did a couple of site visits with project leads, Clara being one of them, had the opportunity to come out to the site with us. But that was for those who would potentially be involved, and also for our team, which included engineers, landscape architects, and planners, to go out and understand what the constraints were on the site before we moved into public engagement, because we really wanted to be able to be realistic about what could be developed, what the opportunities were, and not overpromise anything to residents. Yeah.
When I walk into the Washington Township Community Hall, I see a representation of a sort of a survey document on the board. The citizens are entering that in.
Yes.
Like, you want to summarize?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Number two, last meeting I invited Commissioner Goyke, who I worked for on the Older Adults Advisory Committee. I invited him here, and I thought it was an excellent change. And during community comments, he asked for information on the future of this park.
Oh,
He's
great.
interested, at least either personally or at a county level. I'll be glad to be the liaison for anything that you need between the commissioner or board of commissioners, if so desired.
Okay. Great, thanks.
I'll leave you my card.
Okay.
Thank you.
That sounds good, thank you. So then finally, with all of that ground truthing, we got to the part that's really exciting for us, which is the public engagement, where we get to go out and talk to residents. We decided to target the December tree lighting event at Washington Township, where we had a lot of families coming in, but also quite a few seniors that were bringing their grandkids. And so it was an opportunity for a really great mix of ages. And they were really kind and set us up right next to the balloon, what do you call that, balloon artist? So we got to catch all the parents as they were waiting in line with their kids. Anyway, we had really good responses to our poster board displays. And what we were doing was asking residents to prioritize what amenities they would like to see on the site from a list of different options that we knew could potentially be built out there. And then we also asked residents to respond to various programming activities with how likely they would be to participate in those items. So two kind of main engagement poster boards, and then some information about the project as a whole. So to recap some of the things that we learned from Washington Township's side, if you haven't heard them talking about this project, what's really important to them is preserving the agricultural heritage and viewshed of their community, and especially that view from Mountain Road, and also connecting to the existing trails. And then they were really interested in partnering with Parks and Recreation for the programming and maintenance, since they don't have their own parks department within the township. And then what we heard through your master plan and from Clara is that Parks and Rec has really been prioritizing that indoor gym and court space, and also universally accessible playground. So a playground that would accommodate children of all ages and abilities. And then finally, we heard that you're interested in partnering with Washington Township for the site planning, landscape architecture, and engineering work, because that's not something that the Parks and Rec Commission typically takes on. From a resource availability standpoint, when we were thinking about funding and other design support and who else could get involved in the development of this park long-term, we were able to connect with the High School Academies program at Romeo Community Schools. Are you all familiar with that program? Yes. Oh, awesome. So they've been a really great partner. I know in the past they've taken on some parks projects, and students are awesome because they bring really innovative ideas, but they don't always start with that ground truthing, right, and looking at site constraints. So we were able to forge a really good partnership where we did the conceptual site plan for the park. And then we're able to give them really specific pieces that they could then take back and design within the parameters that we set. So that they have something that's more likely to be able to be built in the future, and still get to have that creative freedom. So we're really excited. That is happening this semester, and we hope to bring that back in the summer to look at what they've designed. Then from Macomb County, we heard about available programs, mostly for trees and landscaping, but they also have really strong connections with the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, and also with MSU Extensions. So those are some of the partners that we're engaging when we start to talk about how we use those 10 acres and do something creative related to the agriculture industry. The Barn Preservation Network I mentioned has some experts that they are connecting us with to do some of the assessment of those existing farm structures and what can be salvaged and or reused. Right now, there's nothing that needs to be torn down or is, dangerous in any way. But we are hoping to get more information about the potential for kind of adapting those spaces to some of the recreational needs in the community. And then finally, from a funding perspective, we heard from both Clara and from Sam Praviti at Washington Township that there's interest in a phased approach. No one's looking to develop all 27 acres at once because we know that would be a high project cost. And there's also a preference that we go after grant funding. So the rest of my presentation today is really talking about that aspect and what we need to do to produce a successful grant application if we were to move forward with development of this project. I know that was a lot. Any questions on that?
Where would you expect the grant to come from? The county or?
It's a great question. So Michigan Department of Natural Resources is a state department that administers the grant funding, so that's who we'd be applying to. But the program that we are targeting is federal dollars, so there are some federal requirements through that as well. So we can talk a little bit about what that means. There are some other criteria that you wouldn't normally have to meet with state-only grant programs, but it is the program that gives the largest grant awards. So Tom had asked a little bit about that poster engagement and what came out of it. The posters are still up at Washington Township Hall if you want to check out what residents have been responding to. But I wanted to highlight really quick from that priority board. These were the counts as of last Friday, so pretty current. The top item was really the walking and cross-country skiing trails. So people wanted a mix of ADA accessible and natural trails out on the site that they could use, and then also wanted that pathway connection to the Macomb Orchard Trail so that they could do some larger recreation and even, running, fitness, that type of thing. Second place was a dog park, which I think not surprising to you all. I know we've heard that a lot in Washington Township, so. And then it was actually butterfly pollinator gardens. So people were really interested in that educational environmental component, and we even had some residents that said they were interested in volunteering to help with some of the upkeep of something like that. And then fire pits were also really popular, something for some seasonal use. And then finally, the playground equipment, huge for parents. So we took all of that information, the site constraints, and put together a conceptual site plan that we could start to use for preparing funding applications and getting partners on board. So I told you kind of the 3 breakdowns of the site itself, and that's followed largely in the conceptual plan here. So a lot of the programming is targeted for the west side of the site that's closest to Mound Road, but then still allowing for those natural areas here, especially where we have wetlands and forest. And then finally, these 10 acres that have been cleared and used for crop production for at least 50 years, right? Probably more. Using that as the space where we start to have these partnerships for agricultural research and innovation.
That research come from universities, MSU or home or what? Because they can bring dollars.
So I have a slide on that. I will answer that question, but let's go through the conceptual, and then I'll tell you about some of the partners that we've engaged to that end. Yeah. And then our overall vision for this site is that it becomes an integral piece of the tri-community recreation system, offering some program that maybe doesn't exist at other parks right now, and also honors Washington Township's, unique agricultural heritage, in addition to serving that purpose for Romeo and for Bruce Township as well. Okay. So phase 1, this is kind of a zoomed in of that programmed area. I want to talk first about overall concept, and then the highlighted yellow area there is what we're proposing for the first phase of development. This is what fits within kind of those constraints of the grant program that I mentioned, and is in a budget that, what seemed like it could maybe be within reach for the township and Parks and Rec. So 15 labeled up here is the perimeter trail that you saw that goes throughout the site. 2 laps around that actually equals a 5K. So the intent is that you could set up some of your races out there, allow another venue for that type of activity. 13 here is proposed as an orchard and or maple sugar stand, again in partnership with Macomb or some of those other entities that may be able to help with donations of trees. Relief has actually already done a project out here in 11. And we are proposing reusing this space without removing what they've done as a dog park. And so this would be a small dog area and then a large dog area. And this is one of those pieces that the Romeo Academies program is designing. 10 here is a pollinator garden, butterfly garden area, again to kind of be that welcoming area and provide some buffer between proposed dog park. 8 indoor pickleball courts is what we're leaning towards right now. It's the perfect size from a dimensional standpoint and looking at the typical size for pickleball. And the architecture program at Romeo High School is doing an evaluation of that site to see what we would need to expand it for that use. But we're really excited about that. What did I miss here? Number 9 we call the Field of Fun. It's kind of a grassy lawn for overflow parking, but also for seasonal events. So if you want to set up tents somewhere away from the road or bouncy houses, those type of activities that you bring to parks through Parks and Rec programming, that space has that availability. And then finally 12 is a low maintenance maze. So we imagine this area as meadow or wildflowers that you actually just mow a path through. So people walk through it and use it as a maze space. It's especially really great with families and ones who wander around and not get as lost as they might in a large corn maze. And it also is a nod to the history of this site because we know that there was a corn maze that was active out there for a number of years. So that's overall site plan. Getting into the first phase, what we're looking at providing is the entryway signage to the park, and then creating the driveway and parking to be able to actually access the site, because that doesn't exist. So drawing people into the site, having that wayfinding. And then we are proposing a large, universally accessible ground with the surfacing that people to roll on if disability. Hopefully we can have some farm theme or nature theme, whatever the responds to. Those types of details can be worked out after the grant, which gives some more opportunity for engagement and ownership over that design. And then finally, number 3 here shows kind of a landing pad for seating. So we imagine that parents could sit here and watch their kids play. Maybe one of the parents is taking the dog down the street to the dog park. And it also is a landing pad. So the estimated cost for phase 1, which again is the entryway signage, parking, seating, and the playground, is $1.5 million. If we get into the cost breakdown a little bit, you'll see about 14% of that would be for the engineering, survey work, and permitting. Through the DNR grant process, there are specific, bid specifications and requirements that have to be met. So if awarded the grant, you would engage a consultant who then would do that work. And then the material cost is about $1.25 million. This just gives you some ideas of different types of playgrounds that could fit within that space. So we proposed a cost share. Again, this is something that we're hoping to do in partnership between Washington Township and Parks and Recreation. Washington Township acquired the land for $1.3 million, and they have been paying the services for planning and landscape architecture to develop the initial concept plan. Through the MDNR Land, Water, and Conservation Fund, we can receive up to $500,000. So we would be applying for that max award amount. That leaves $1 million for the actual construction costs on the site. So we presented to the Washington Township Board of Trustees last night this cost breakdown to see how that felt to them, if it was kind of within expectations, knowing that we'd be coming to you tonight as well to get your input on this. We proposed $100,000 from Washington Township's end, which would cover the survey, permitting, grant administration, and signage. And then from Parks and Rec, $900,000 to cover the rest of that local match, including the parking, playground equipment, and some of those engineering fees. We also recognize that this would be added to the Parks and Recreation system, which means there would be some ongoing maintenance costs to that end as well. The earliest construction, if we're going down this grant road, there are some timelines that constrain when these things can be built. So we'd be looking at late summer, early fall of 2027 as the earliest that these improvements could be constructed. I know that this is probably where a lot of the conversation is going to be and a lot to take in. Let me get really quick to our timeline. So what I'm asking tonight is just that you consider this, provide some input on that cost breakdown on the conceptual plan. There's no decision that needs to be made tonight. Today was really more informational, but I would ask that I be allowed to come back in March for an official motion from your commission to either provide that local match or not provide. But at that time, we'd be looking for a decision so that we can move forward with the grant application. For this specific grant, we have to have in writing a commitment from the parties that are going to contribute to that local match. So this, tentatively, we're looking for the at least approval to move forward with developing some of those application materials without a final commitment tonight. We'll be putting out soon the transmittal of a notice of intent to apply for grant funding for this site. And we're working, and again, Washington Township is paying for this, so that's not on this commission, but we're working to engage a consultant to do what's called a Section 106 historic review. So because this is federal funding, we go through the State Historic Preservation Office for an archaeological and cultural resources review. It's a requirement for anything that involves federal funding. So we're taking care of that. And then on our end, also developing the narrative and supplemental materials to actually submit the grant application. In March, we'd like to come back to you all. At Washington Township's level, there will be a public hearing where they'll authorize us to move forward or not with the application. But we would be coming to you all too before we submit, again, for that commitment on the local match funding. And then finally, April 1st, applications are due. So it is a quick turnaround, and I appreciate just your input and feedback as we go through this. So before we open up that discussion, I just want to talk about some of the things happening simultaneously, and Tom, this gets to your questions as well. Romeo High School Academies is taking on the design of the dog park, pollinator garden, and the indoor court and pickleball space. So again, we're really excited to see what comes out of this semester's class and how we can incorporate that. Our team is working on cost estimates right now for those remaining elements of the park. And our hope is that we kind of have a menu of options. So as the Township and Parks and Rec has additional funding, you can kind of pick and choose over the years which of those elements you may want to implement. And we can also continue to go after grant funding. So this master plan sets us up really well to be able to do that year after year, or even, a few years from now to pick a few of those elements to move forward with. Ongoing discussion of programming and use for barn structures. We will be taking a barn restoration expert out to the site probably later in the spring after we submit this grant application, again, to see what's feasible, what types of utilities would need to be added to those buildings, even things like heat, air conditioning, insulation, so that we can use those for the purposes that we've identified as desirable. And then finally, conversations with the agricultural community. So we have a list of farmers in the area that we're engaging to see what needs they have that maybe aren't accommodated on their own site right now. We have heard that farmers are looking occasionally for smaller grazing plots that they can use for separating like young cattle from their mothers. So that's one potential use. And to that end, there's a company called FarmLink where you can actually list small plots, and it's geared towards people entering into the agricultural business, or again, looking for those small pieces of land. So that's one idea that we have been working towards. There are also some other communities that have used creative partnerships with 4-H. So there's a barn structure that we have preserved on the site that we have not proposed any uses for right now, that could be a fit to give some space for kids that don't have the space on their own properties, maybe don't live on an acre, but would want to be able to raise livestock, to potentially be able to lease space for that. And that was a really popular amenity option from residents when we went to that tree lighting event. And then we're talking with MSU Extensions and MDART as well about creative opportunities. I listed up here, but haven't engaged yet, that Michigan Maple Syrup Association, because we are really excited in the orchard space about the opportunity to maybe create from scratch a maple sugar stand. Climate changes in this area have affected sugar production. And so that's something that would be really cool to research on this site. What kind of species could we plant today to be able to raise trees for sugar production later on, 30 years from now? So again, kind of broad opportunities, but we're talking to these research institutions about which of those ideas they'd potentially want to pursue with us. Okay, I gave you guys a lot to dissect. Happy to answer any questions and just hear general feedback on this.
You guys did a great job. How will our citizens, what format? Be it online, especially the survey. How would they see that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at the Christmas tree lighting event, we did have a sign-up sheet for anyone that wanted updates. We had a few people that signed up that way, and we've sent out the same presentation that you got. We've sent out to that group, and we'll continue to update them. Washington Township in their newsletter has also given periodic updates, on this plan, but anything that Parks and Rec wants to put out, we're happy to provide materials for as well.
We also have one source magazine that now has one publication. I hope more places.
Yep.
The citizens need to know and weigh in for their benefit.
Yeah, and in March, when we go back to the Washington Township Board of Trustees, that meeting is required to be a public hearing for the grant application. So we'll also advertise that and invite residents to come out and give their feedback on the plans as well.
Do you know the specific date in March?
Yes, it is March 18th. And they meet at 6:30 p.m. at Township Hall.
The refurbishment of the existing facilities, what are you looking at for some of the buildings? I know you've mentioned what looks like Building 8 for pickleball, is that?
Yes.
Okay.
So this one, again, without having the restoration expert or an architect out there, we haven't did ourselves fully, just because we want to stay open for funding opportunities. But we are anticipating this indoor court calls Romeo High School. This building, number 6, we anticipate will be a community event space. Because it's so close to where people would be in, there's a good opportunity. So it's really open. It's one of the most open pool barns, whereas some of the others on the site have horse stalls and things in them that would require more work.
Well, that was the old indoor arena, was it? Yeah.
And I didn't mention, but have a lot of the farm equipment out there too, so when Washington Township purchased the site, they got all the equipment that was out there, or a good deal of it, with those for maintenance, rides around on that. So right now, this this is the main, I won't call it work barn because there have been some bits, but this is one that we're really excited to see what we can finish. Some of the things that the township has shown interest in is some museum and exhibition space. And then Clara also mentioned that you guys talked about indoor archery, and if that's something that could be accommodated anywhere. So we've, lengthwise, that's a possibility here, but we don't know what that would entail as far as hearing. And then finally, in the farmhouse, we're thinking office classroom space, but also there are restrooms in here. So it's another permanent restrooms, whereas by the ground, at least for now, we're anticipating.
I've seen anywhere on, pointed out, where we utilize socialism. Together maybe. Listen to music, lunch, etc. Without people that don't want to play pickleball or feed the horse, people for places for down bowling.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So I did not label it on here because it was one of our later additions. This space outside of the main barn right now is outdoor pasture. We anticipate this plaza because the ultimate goal is to have common entrance, and this becomes a loop around so that you can drop off whoever you're driving at this main plaza and entry into the park. So we have plaza space in this color, and this is a pavilion. This is not an existing structure right now, and you can probably see it better on your. We have screen lights proposed here. And this tree is a placeholder for us because the tree lighting ceremony is really important in Washington. And we wondered about giving them another space at the park where they can do that and really, even raise into tree that is. And so, I would say for socialization aspect, this is the area we anticipate those outdoor events, which is state of the township addresses.
Because assumedly, the idea of an indoor work. I go to this Washington Center and I look across it. Obviously, I don't play pickleball when it's, but we also have corollaries able to year round without the constraints of rain, snow, ice. So any of these facilities, I think, address that capability. The place is empty from December to March. That in fact it was great. That's why I asked. Thank you.
I have a couple other questions. Any idea on, maybe you're not the person to ask, but Parks and Rec's commitment to this, other than the money, it looks like there's a lot of continual maintenance. Is Parks and Rec going to be expected to maintain this whole facility, and will it be a facility that we control, for lack of a better term, or is this something where we're going to have parts and they're going to have parts and somebody else is going to have parts?
Yeah.
Because I'm always cautious about, okay, we get into this and we're providing all the maintenance and we're providing half, at least half of the money on a lot of this stuff. What's the expectation from the township on Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, and I'm all for it. I don't want that to be misconstrued, but I don't want to get into a situation where, okay, there's something we can't afford, you know?
Yeah, it's a great question and definitely something that we should talk about. I definitely don't want to skip over that fact. Our Washington Township, and again, I'm representing them on this, but also as a resident of Bruce Township representing you all. Washington Township's hope is that this site becomes part of the Parks and Rec system. So our goal would be that Parks and Rec is doing the majority of the maintenance and the programming for the site, with Washington Township chipping in for improvements, helping with some of that local match, and also providing the planning services to be able to do the grant administration and grant funding applications. So that's some of the benefit of the partnership, is that, you know, as the planning consultant, we would continue to go after those funding opportunities and work collaboratively on that end to find the funding. But as far as those kind of soft costs, the ongoing, the maintenance, and even like rental of portable restrooms, that's something that Washington Township is looking for this commission to provide.
And what about our say in the future development of the other portions? You know, I mean, I know what's planned. I have some ideas for it too.
Yeah.
You know, I just wonder, you know, again, once we get past this, I mean, you know, again, this sounds great. I just don't want to get in over our head.
Yeah, so none of this is set in stone. This was a conceptual plan to give a vision so that we could start to apply for grant funding. But the reality is that without the local match from the commission, Washington Township's not going to move forward. So you have a lot of say in how this park is developed. At any stage, you would have to provide a commitment in writing before we can move forward with developing anything.
That answers my question, is I wanted to know if design is done.
Not at all, no. The only thing that has to be decided for April is what gets included in that grant application. And you can see for the 27-acre site, this is it's less than 2 acres, this area. So this is the only part that we have to have a scope for right now.
So the 900,000 from the Parks and Rec, is that something that'll happen over what timeline? Talking for timeline.
Yep, so none of it would happen until summer, fall of 2027. So there's a lot of time to plan for it. This grant program is reimbursable. So the way it works is that the township and commission, however that gets broken down, if we get the grant award, pays for the items and then gets reimbursed from the state. So you wouldn't be paying for anything until it's literally going in the ground.
And then maybe get reimbursed.
You would get reimbursed, yes.
Maybe.
For sure.
I mean,
Well,
if
you'd
they
get
go through the
reimbursed
grant-
up to the 500,000.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, do we get the grant application approved before we say yes?
Before,
Approve the concept, or
Right.
like the okay that we want to do it, or we,
Okay.
but the money part, go ahead, sorry.
no, you're okay. Yeah, so nothing would move forward until we know that we received a grant and actually accept the grant.
Okay.
So you actually can't, through MDNR, like if we were to put anything out to bid or start engineering the site, that would immediately disqualify us. We have to go through their specific process.
So just verify. So you're asking 900,000 for Parks and Rec. But you're applying for a grant for 500,000. Technically, we would have to come up with 400,000. Is that correct?
No, we're asking for 900,000. 500,000, the total project cost is 1.5 million. So 500,000 can get reimbursed through the state. Of that million local match that's left, we're asking Parks and Rec to cover 900,000 and Washington Township to cover 100,000. And that's because the land acquisition was really expensive out here, and they are providing the ongoing services again for the grant administration and some of the planning and landscape architecture.
So if the grant doesn't get approved, just come back to us.
Yeah, we would just say, you know, it hasn't been approved. You still have the site plan. If you want to move forward, you can always fund these things without grant dollars. We can also try again next year. But yeah, nothing happens until we know.
And I would assume that with some of the long-term things that would, you know, provide us with opportunity to lease spaces out and things of that nature, that those funds would be coming back into Parks and Rec.
Correct.
So if we were charging for like pickleball or different things like that, or leasing space, we would need somebody to manage all of that, I assume, and then also, but we would have the opportunity to recoup maybe some maintenance fees
Right.
and things like
Does do MSU, like the extension and the farm type things, they come in and do all of whatever is approved by the commission, or they approve, or that comes?
Yeah, if we were to lease like these 10 acres back here for those small plots, there's
Yeah.
nothing that would be required maintenance wise of you guys. That's people maintaining their own plots. So we're
No farm.
we're looking for some of those opportunities. One of the constraints on the site is that the township doesn't have insurance that covers livestock. So they can't just add like a petting zoo out here, but they still want people to have that experience of agriculture if possible. So that's one of the reasons we started looking that direction. Because then potentially you leave space for pathway like around this perimeter, but at least the interior, and people still get that experience of what's happening on those small plots. If there's cattle grazing, horse space, there's still a working horse farm back here. This is one of the farmers with some interest in leasing some of this space. So those opportunities exist within the constraints of township insurance policy.
So if you have farmers using this property, that would come back to us as revenue?
Not necessarily. Yes, theoretically, but we also just have to be careful about how this shapes. So MDNR is a little bit out. So we had to meet with our grant coordinator and make sure we could out this, but we'd have to think about how that revenue probably it would.
There's a lot of issues with leasing out little bits of land like that, and just off the cuff, without doing any research, I don't know that I'd be really for a lot of that kind of stuff, because you get people fighting over, just, yeah. And 10 acres is, it would be better served as like community gardens or something like that than it would be, for some, unless MSU wanted to come in and do research plots, and then people could view that kind of stuff, but once you get into the leasing land for agriculture, so nobody wants to do anything for, most of them don't want to lease anything for 1 year or a short period of time. They want to know if they can have it for 10 years, and because, they start putting fertilizer, and if they start putting irrigation, stuff like that, it's too costly. That's just off the cuff.
Does that piece of property in the back have to remain, if we receive this grant, the first phase of it, does it have to remain open and for agriculture or for nature?
What we are requesting through the grant is actually that this, you have to submit your whole site.
Yeah.
But we're asking SHIP code section, setting aside agriculture. But if it does get recreational space, that's no issue. The bigger conversion is if you include it in the grant application now and then try to get agriculture later.
Yeah.
So.
I just wanted to say you did an awesome job with the presentation. It's
Yep.
very informative. I think it's exactly what we need to make a decision. So I appreciate you putting this together. And my personal opinion is I'm excited to hear what the residents have to say at the March 16th meeting, because I think that has a lot of, weight in how we're going to decide.
Or what we're gonna,
Okay.
I think it's a great idea. It's a great location.
Oh, that's another question.
Mm-hmm.
What if we can't do 1.5? Is there something that could be backed out of it?
Yes. So there are some options that we have explored and had some cost estimates for. So that's something we can definitely talk about and adjust. One option is to not put all of this parking. It does risk that you don't have enough parking site initially, but gravel or just assuming that you want to. Another option is to scale back the size of the playground, but we got the that's not really the desire because the university having the playground equipment. So parking's kind of some of that cost.
So could we still ask for 500,000? What match? Does the match have to be a certain percentage? Does it has to be the million?
No, so the match has to be at least 50%. So 500, like, let's say you scale it back, and I don't know that shaving off. Let me go back to this cost breakdown. The playground equipment itself right now is focused. So the playground was like 700,000. So that's the main part right now of the development. But if some of that gets scaled back, you could potentially have a local match of 500,000 and get 500,000 from the state and go for the $1 million development. Any other
Thank you
questions
so
right now?
much.
Did
Okay.
you guys, I mean, how do you plan how big the parking lot will be? That,
Yeah, so there's a manual called the ITE Parking Generation Manual. So that's actually what this estimate came off of. And we based it on the park acreage and the anticipated amount of programming on the site. So that's how we got to this size, knowing that if we bring special events in.
yeah, because as you said, it doesn't look like a lot of parking.
I think there's almost 50. So there's this area, and then we also proposed some parking here, house. So between those, there's also a little bit of parking by the dog park.
Would there be any costs or what would be necessary to bring in or out?
Yes. So
Is that in the 900, whatever?
no, none of that is needed for this area. We're doing some fencing out here. That utilities is a conversation that'll really do the survey for the site, land public property, to figure out where we can send it. Right now, this site is on well and septic. So if we wanted to do permanent restrooms, any kind of lighting, this main barn has electricity, so there's some opportunity out here, but we have.
And when you talk about connecting this to Macomb Orchard Trail, it's basically through subdivisions that are going to be going in, not an actual trail.
Yeah, a lot of that area is
Using
built out, but
the streets of a suburb
sidewalk.
or side.
Yeah, we have 8-foot pathway all the way through, basically. So
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Moving on, Clara. B.
B. B is our Citizen Social Connection Committee, and as we know, Tom Matthews is our liaison, so he was going to talk about it in a minute. Everybody should have that in their folder. I'm so confused over here.
Okay, again, good evening, honorable members of the commission and staff and ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for all being here. At the last meeting, we presented the 3-page board charge document defining the following areas: the statement of the purpose of the committee, the members of the Citizen Social Connection Committee, which I requested we change the name by adding social so it's clear what the committee is all about, because there are citizen connection committees in the world, and they mostly deal with things like providing citizens with access or direction towards health care, food, and that kind of thing. That's not what we're doing here. The next section is officers and duties of the committee. The next is general duties of the committee. And lastly, the relationship of the committee to the board of directors. Now, if I can have just 5 minutes to explain the evolution of this committee to those that are not familiar, that have agreed to join, and I thank them for joining, I think it would be beneficial. So I am also a member of the Macomb County Older Adults Advisory Committee, been now 2.5 years. 2 years ago, I met a lady in a restaurant in northern Washington Township. I like people, I like to talk to people. And she told me something that I'll never forget. I was almost brought to tears. She said to me, I have no one. I have no one. And I was almost brought to my knees as well. In the wealthiest country on the planet, to hear somebody say that to you is almost inconceivable. So I didn't know what to say to this woman, and I finally said to her, help is on the way. So we've now come to this point 2 years later, and I'd like to briefly describe how we got here. So as part of my job in the Older Adults Advisory Committee, I conduct research along with my colleagues to the following: the trends, needs, and concerns of our older citizens. That's how it is in the Older Adults Committee. It is now transitioned from that committee initially here to what's being called now the Citizen Social Connection Committee for citizens of all ages. That said, in late last year, I submitted my 37-page report to the Older Adults Committee of Macomb County. It's a report on social isolation and the remedies that we can bring to bear to help the situation. I submitted that to the county. It was approved and received and filed. I subsequently submitted it to you all. And that led to, and I want to thank Clara for taking the initiative. I think she took the initiative to send out and create a sign-up form for members, potential members of the committee. And some of them are here tonight. We have Mike Philbrook. We have, Tina Offenord. And is Jackie here? No? Okay. And Clara, and then Becky Hopp will be a member of it, we hope. So now we've gotten to the point where we supposedly have all of our members in place. And we're soon to form this committee. The first order of business is, of course, to establish the document that defines the work. And that's what this 3-page statement of purpose, et cetera, that I just described. So at the last meeting, you directed us to include the duties of this committee. And Clara and I met several times, and we reinstalled the duties that were listed in section 4C. There's 5 of them. And you have this document now in your packet. Our petition is that you will approve it and we can begin the work, because it's a viable project. Now, let me just one more thing say. In 2023, the Surgeon General of the United States, at that time, his name was Dr. Vivek Murthy, issued an 82-page report on social connection, social isolation, and loneliness. He placed in that report 3 lists. And let me read them real quick. These are the 3 lists he mentioned. There's a list of about 10 items. What individuals can do, what parents and caregivers can do, and what national, territorial, state, and local can do, and that's us. So he's listed those things, the actions we can take. So I'll tell you, I'm extremely excited that we're taking this initiative. We are going to be the leaders in Macomb County in this respect. And I hope our committee, with the people that have agreed to sign on, are successful, and we can set a precedent and make a difference in our community.
because you're all aware of the problems we're now having with social media, and it's leading some of our young children to suicide. And in AI, creating what I call synthetic relationships. That's not what God intended. We need to be together face to face. And you can see the results that it's having on people's mental, physical, and emotional health. It's not good. At almost 80 years old, my time on this earth is limited. I'm afraid of what's going to happen when I'm gone if we don't do something now. So that's my statement. I hope that supplies you with what you need. So, is there anything else we need to do?
Well, so tonight we did invite all of the
Yes.
people who are interested as committee members. So I think, well, you know the charges to be approved.
Yep.
That, and then would have to have approval for the committee members. But not all of them are here. But you do have a list of them, but Tina Offenord and Mike Philbrook are here. Tom, myself, Becky Hopp is not here, but Jackie is not here. She's I did kind of put on the side so that you would know, she's a home care provider, and she has been around our site.
Kathy Kukla is out of town.
And then Kathy Kukla is out of town, and she's a retired physician.
Physician assistant.
Physician's assistant, which, by the way, we have a great group of people. We have, Mike will bring us administrative support from a municipal level. We have Clara, who has excellent experience in this kind of work. We have a caregiver. We have a retired teacher. We have a physician's assistant. We have representation from various groups that can provide the professional guidance we need in making this successful. So,
If you'd like, the members that are here, if
Sure.
they want to get up and tell us why you want to be a part of this committee. You know, who, or Mrs. Offenor?
Oh, okay. All right, well, I was a Romeo school teacher for 35 years. And I did have Claire one of my first years. And I also...
Really good. I was a star student.
And I also worked for Saginaw as a student teacher supervisor for 10 years. But I never really, I still work with people. I worked with a group called A Beautiful Me for 16 years. It was for building self-confidence in young girls, mostly fifth grade girls. I did that for 16 years, and then I thought, I want to do something different. So I saw this, so I signed up for this. I'm working at the Agape Center at St. Clemens. I'm working at the library, helping scan and crop pictures and all these hundreds of boxes that they have there in the archives. And I'm also working for Kids of Foster Care in Macomb County. And so I just want to do a lot of stuff because I've been in this community for 52 years and I still want to be active in things. And when I saw this, I just thought, I live alone and sometimes it does get lonely. And so, I want to help others. And so you have to make sure that that doesn't happen to you because, again, they say that dementia is caused by people that are not social. And I saw it firsthand with my ex-husband. That happened to him. And so I would just like to help people in my community another way. So that's why I'm here.
Thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
And Mike Philbrook?
I'm just happy to help out, but just
He's got a bad foot. It's healing. Or leg, I
Mike's a
should say.
great guy. Mike can't say no to anybody, so.
Right. Well, I want to thank Tom for all the hard work he's done on this. I think, you have really been persistent and you followed through on everything you said you would do, and I think it's amazing. I would like to make a motion to approve the charges. Is that what it's?
Yes.
Yeah.
The board charges to the Citizen Social Connection Committee, and I would also like to make a motion to approve the committee members as well.
I'll
the
second
proposed
that.
committee.
I said. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
All
Tom.
right. Thank you, guys. It's going to be great. I think it's an important endeavor, and as you mentioned, you know, all of you bring an assortment of connections throughout the community and things like that that could be helpful to this as well. So that's great. Moving on.
Lastly, the Surgeon General has said in his report, I mentioned, that social isolation and loneliness is an American public health crisis, similar to smoking and drinking. In fact, he mentions in his report that social isolation is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes. And to your point, dementia, there's a 50% increase in dementia. Those two factors. And if anybody wants the report, I'll be glad. Thank you.
Thanks, Deb. Clara,
So
H&R
eight-
PTO.
Yep, 8C is HR and PTO, I put. But,
Paid time off.
well, in my head, I'm like, I just kept thinking of school. But anyways, this is Linda Moore, and she has been assigned, she's so lucky, she's our new HR director and pay core director, so. Yeah, very great.
Okay. Thank you. I am Linda Moore from Adventure HR, and I'm the Client Human Resources Director now. And I understand that there was some open issues with the paid time off policy that was reviewed, I believe, in December. And so there was a request to receive some benchmarking information. Other communities, other entities like similar to this. And so we reviewed that. We were able to pull information from a lot of public sources because there isn't really a survey that everybody participates in to be able to explain all of that. So we had utilized that benchmarking information to come up with the policy that you saw actually in December. It hasn't changed, but there were some questions on the maximum amount of PTO hours that were allowed to be rolled over, and was that fair, and how we would handle that. And the benchmarking seems to have answered that from the standpoint that Washington has the 80 hours that roll over. And quite frankly, outside of a municipality, 80 hours is pretty much the standard best practice. Usually it's no more than 80, and sometimes it's 40, but most of the time it's 80. And so we also we're talking about compensatory time off must be taken, within the same period of time that it's come about. But we had the question of how to transition to that with the people that had a lot of, a large balance of compensation or comp time off. So I was asked to present really some options for you. I won't read this entire document word for word, but to give you some idea of the options. And I'm not aware of your financials, so you probably will be looking at your financials and what you're able to do or think that you should be doing. But these are all three of these options are best practices, so you really can't go wrong by picking one of these. But the first option for the PTO balance, to bring the PTO balance down to that 80 hours, because there's some employees that have much more than that, like 700 hours or more, 500 hours or more. So the first option is to grandfather them and to cap that. The safest legally and the best for morale is what we're thinking. We would have the 80-hour rollover limit that would be effective April 1st with the new year. Allow the employees to keep their existing balances, and but they would not be allowed to accrue any more time because they're way over the rollover amount. And the pros of that is to have it's really a low legal risk, high employee trust, but the cons are slower financial cleanup because, like I said, some people have 700, 500 balances, so it's going to take a long while for them to wear that off. Option 2 is to use it by a certain date, and that allows a transition period. That's a common practice. And what we would do there is to give the employees up to 60 months to reduce the balances. So it'd be like 5 years. And then after that, any PTO that was left over then would be gone. But because the balances are so high, we're suggesting 60 months. You can go less than that, but thought that might be reasonable. And then the pros of that is to clean up the liability faster than A, because A is going to take several years. The cons is to really that the employee is then forced to take their PTO or lose it by a certain time. Although we're recommending 5 years, it could still take some time, and then they're taking time away from work as well while they're trying to use up their balances. Option 3 is to pay down the excess balances, and that's what we did was to calculate the excess hours allotted for above 2026. So it was the balance plus the 80 hours, and then on the next page here, you have the estimated costs. For confidentiality reasons, I, of course, didn't put the names, but there's the employees here, and it would be the 280 is the maximum amount of PTO allowed, and all these people are high seniority, so they all have the 280 hours, 80 hours of rollover, and then how much excess do they have that would be a payout. And payouts can be, they don't have to be immediate. You can give them, part this year and part the next year. But this would be the estimated cost. If you paid it all out for this year, it would be close to $30,000 to be able to pay that out. So before I move on to comp time, questions or comments?
Did you talk to the employees to see what they might be interested in?
I did not talk.
Just one.
No, I didn't talk to everyone, no.
Clara, do you have a preferred method?
Well, the cleanest is probably just to pay it out. The 5 years, I mean, what happens if we're not here for the 60 months?
Yeah.
Not saying anything, but I mean, things happen.
You ain't going nowhere.
Then,
Until I do.
I mean, I do, if it is a considerable amount of money, but I did budget some of that in next year's budget, so maybe we could pay some of it this year and then the remainder of it next year. So no matter what, we have to stay till April 1st. But we appreciate the fact that we feel like you don't want to just take these hours and throw them away, because
No,
That's not
we
fair.
would not do that.
So we very much, I think I can speak for everybody on that we appreciate that. But we're not opposed to some of it being put into hours. So it looks like here, right, is that 80 of it would be put into this following year's.
Yes, it would you would be receiving the 280 from the seniority from the chart that's in the policy. And then because you can roll over up to 80, you'd get another 80, and that would be your bank. And then the rest of it would be potentially paid out.
Go ahead.
Current hours that are
Mhm.
300. That's equivalent. That's I
Of comp?
that's vacation
Oh,
only.
oh,
I don't, no, we don't, comp was,
Oh, okay.
yeah, comp was done, so
Okay.
360, what my bank used all of my vacation time allotted from used all my vacation time at our old policies allowed us to keep vacation days not up to 45, which equivalent to 300 hours. So because we've been here, that's how I didn't take I got 10 vacation days that year and I only used 5.
Right.
Then I was able to hold my 5
Right.
moving into the next fiscal year.
Right.
Didn't lose it, but we could never go over 45.
Right.
I always had to stay at that or under. So currently what we have 300 hours is that's not
Right. PTO, right.
that's what approved over. That is only your vacation. Yeah, that's
Now, are we talking about where their PTO time is all one bank now? It's not-
Yes.
Okay,
we're
so,
separate.
so you have to, keeps coming off of there. So I guess we gotta make sure that everybody's numbers are right before we talk about any payouts or anything like that. Because I don't see any, well, would that be the 407?
It does say
Yes.
estimated cash number was taken for one.
Okay,
So that's like numbers at hours. 30.
okay.
So numbers will change slightly.
And is this calendar year or fiscal year? I don't remember what we decided. It's fiscal year? Okay. Okay. So they could still use sometime between now and,
Yes.
Like I will be using some of my current bank. So I will be lower. Instead of, I'll have like,
Mm-hmm.
that's good. The person maybe say, I'm gonna ride it out, I'm gonna 5 years. Maybe check half. Hours.
well, we could, I guess, in theory, look at something like that, but, I don't want to put too much strain on our accounting person. Because-
Even the people that have worked that amount of time, we need to ask.
Well, that's what, yeah, and that's what I would assume that we're gonna do.
And then it doesn't mean that that's, oh, you might, I want to bank all my, oh, we don't want to.
Right.
For 5 years. That's 160.
Right.
The
Okay.
cleanest thing for me is out, but.
Right.
I have to go here.
And then you forgive us the rest? No, oh, no, okay.
I would be happy to use some, like still be able to use some, but
Sure.
then if then have the
Right.
flexibility to use it and then don't want to put it out, then, but we have to use it at a certain time, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming we could do something like a half payout or something. And
Yes,
and
yes.
And a half, or, yeah, I mean,
I mean, 'cause
So
it is
I-
a large amount.
I mean, I think, I don't know what the rest of you guys think, but I mean, I think maybe just talking with the three people involved and see what's gonna work out best for them and go from there.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So are we saying individually, everybody would have their own individual plan, or are we saying that if
Well, I
they
guess
all
let's
agree
see where-
to
let's
one
see where-
method?
Let's see where they land, you know.
I think if one person wants to be out, boom, they're done. Want to go back and half.
Mhm.
I'd say if somebody just out, boom, good.
Yeah, I think we could.
If the township can afford that, this is, if they all choose that they want to be paid out, is that okay?
Just comes out of the director's salary. No, we're okay. I think we probably, like you said, we've already budgeted for a portion of it anyway.
Okay, so we're thinking individually, whatever each of
Yeah,
the
well,
three
let's see
people
where it goes.
would
When
like
do
to
you
do?
need an answer by?
Well, ideally by, April 1st, so we can administer it accordingly. So we have some time.
I'm assuming you guys have kind of made a,
The three.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I'm assuming that you guys have kind of already probably talked about it and have some idea of what you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you can tell us that, not right.
Not now.
Not in public, you know, and we'll. Check your mailbox.
So are we thinking then, I just want to be understanding this, so the three decide what they would like to do, and then we can go ahead and do that with the support of the commission, or do we need to come back and tell you what they have decided and then you approve it?
I would think we have to come back
would
next
think-
month
Yeah,
to
Okay,
yeah,
come up with an answer
Sure.
that gives us time to meet with each person and
yeah.
And if we did it by the March meeting, then we'd still meet that April 1st deadline.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, for sure.
For the meeting and then have
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, now for comp time, there's less of it. So we have one person that has 39 hours and another person that has 5 hours, 5.25 right now. So because it's smaller and we want to put the comp time system to bed, away,
Go away, yeah.
that, under the previous policy, this was, administered this way. So we're recommending that there's a payout for those two people just to close it out.
I think that makes.
That makes sense, I agree.
Okay, so,
I'll propose a motion to do a payout for the comp time hours the amounts aren't definite here, correct?
those are correct.
These are correct?
Well,
Okay.
Okay, but employee B has some question. There might,
So how about I say,
Those are act,
but from, let me see, whatever. All I know is that there was a question about one of them. So we'll look at that because you did a whole,
yes, we had a whole spreadsheet of
Itemized spreadsheet, so-
itemized, and this is what we have currently
and I
on
think you did
record.
it from October, and I think the question,
Ah,
But-
okay. So we,
So just if we could look at that.
Okay.
before-
So should I put a dollar amount on it?
No, well, either that or an hour amount.
Make it a not to exceed.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many hours are in question? Can I ask that, so I can make sure? What's
But-
that?
Is it less than 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
Just put a less,
So,
less than 5.
well, I'll say,
Well, in
I'll
addition
make-
to the
Yeah,
5.
not-
Right.
not to
right,
exceed.
Right.
I'll make a
Hours.
motion to do a payout for the comp time hours not to exceed 2,000 total for the 2 employees. Is that?
Yeah, that would do it. That would
Okay.
cover it.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Billick,
Yes.
Dembski,
Yes.
Studa,
Yes.
excuse me, Ms. Getter,
Yes.
Mr. Carey.
Yes.
And
Okay.
Bob, who do you
And the
want
rest is
to,
coming back in March.
what's that?
Yes.
The rest is coming
Yes.
back in
Yes.
Okay.
Who do you
For the
want
final amount.
to have the discussion with 3 employees?
Who wants to?
I mean, should it be a commission member? Is it the director? Or is the director one of the people?
I would say it would be human resources.
Okay.
You are a human resources person
maybe
now.
Do you need one of us, or?
No, I was just going to
Oh.
talk to them about the options and,
All right.
and get their
Okay.
thoughts and
Well,
then
good. Yes,
bring
let's
it to
go.
you.
Let's go home.
So you have like an independent person.
Perfect.
All right,
Works
cool.
for me.
That's the beauty of having an
Linda
HR
will handle
person.
that.
Okay,
All right.
anything else?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
for
Thanks,
coming.
Linda.
Thanks, Linda, and nice meeting you in person.
Yes.
What's this 1-hour program block thing?
Okay, so the 1-hour program block, here's my issue that we've been having, is that we have programs that are half-hour long or 45 minutes long, like swim class, but we're to the point, and it has been happening, that the kids, our lifeguards and our instructors, don't feel it's enough time, the waste of, so they don't come
Yeah.
to work. And
I agree.
understand that too.
I agree.
So I would have been talking, trying to figure out how can we do this? Can we block a set of time, like 2 hours? And then we had talked about, I think maybe you gave it a name, but if we gave an amount instead, like per session, pay per class or per session.
Yeah.
Saturdays, they're all at a row. So they would get paid their normal, regular rate. But our weekday evening classes are the ones that it's really hard to get an instructor or a lifeguard to come to, as well as our aquafit class at 7:30 at night, so you put your bathing suit on.
I mean,
Go to the pool.
wouldn't it be easier to pay them always the same system? Rather
Well,
than
you could get-
having a
price.
paid hourly for this and paid,
So on Saturday, they're working a block of like 4 or 5 hours.
but
In a row.
is each one of those hours a different program?
They go right into each other.
Right.
And
But-
if there is a missed class in between, then they're just kind of added to another level, because we don't send them home or anything like
Right.
that. So sometimes, I mean, so we're talking about $25 to $30 per session. So, not opposed to it, but the pool doesn't make a lot of money to pay for what is there, because we have silver fins, and there's only like 4 or 5, but we don't ever want to stop that. And then we have our aquafit, we're building back up, but we've had the, between the construction with the pool and sharing the pool and trying to squeeze everything in there, I don't really want to give up a weekday night. I can keep one going.
So the other option, I guess, would be to, if you call them in for one thing, that there's a minimum hours that they get paid for, minimum of 2 hours, or, even if it's only an
And we
hour.
could do it
I
that way
mean,
too.
that would be, I mean,
Could we do it that way too?
I see three options. One would differently, and then premium rate day. That's
hit or miss,
convenient,
yeah.
if you will, kind of like a shift premium, second shift manufacturing time. But that way, with everybody the same, no matter when session is $25. But a block of sessions on Saturday, then they're gonna make a whole lot of money.
Well,
And then the other one is to
Make it a minimum.
make it a minimum that you pay for one class.
At least 2 hours or something like that, right.
So it depends on, your financial, that you can, because all of it's legal.
Right.
For employment. So whatever you think makes sense financially.
well, I think swimming is important. I mean, only
Yeah.
it's not in the schools anymore, so like, we are
Right.
where it's at, and we are filling classes. Again, like, right now, we normally take 2 instructors per class, but now I've moved it down to 4, just to make sure I have enough instructors, so before we open it up, so then we take a waiting list, and we've been doing it like, but I feel like, hate that we have, but it does make sense. I mean, it's an hour.
So,
Their,
right,
Like,
their
right,
hourly rate.
So lifeguards are paid $15 per hour, and then instructors are anywhere from minimum up to about.
What do they usually work?
Well, it depends what class they have.
Is 1 hour enough?
No,
right. Yeah, I mean, if
that's what I need. I need
Right.
either a 2-hour block
right.
or,
I mean, because when you think about it, if they're coming in to do a 45-minute class,
yeah,
it's taking an hour and a half to 2 hours of their time.
right.
And, right, I mean, for $15,
I know.
would you,
I would just.
Well,
give-
then
I
maybe we
think
should do
just
per
give them a
session.
minimum. They get 2 hours.
But I would have to have 2 different per sessions, because we have the lifeguard per non-lifeguard.
right. But if they're coming in and they're going to work 4 hours.
Right.
Or 3 hours, then that doesn't apply. They just get the 3 hours or the 4 hours.
Right.
But if it's less than that, the minimum we're going to pay them is 2 hours. That,
To me, that's the
Yeah.
simplest
Okay.
way
Yeah.
to solve the problem.
The minimum is
Yeah,
2 hours.
just make a
So,
minimum.
but with the punch system, it's a little bit, because they're supposed to come in, they're supposed to punch when they get there and punch, which, it's okay, because managers can go in and, I don't know, maybe there's a
They
punch
can
that says,
probably
"Hey,"
set a prompt, yeah, I'm sure that,
Yeah,
yeah.
Is, for example, I own my own business as a secretary. You all know what I charge. Being here. Yeah, right. But with the gentleman I work for who's a real estate developer, if I'm working in my home or, and it's just a matter of referencing something or talking to him on the phone or talking to somebody else on the phone, I don't charge. The minute I put my hands on the computer, I start charging. So I'm just saying, I do that to compensate for the fact that I don't write down, I started working for him at 12:12 and ended at 12:42, because just the time that my hands are on the. Yet, there is a 1 hour minimum.
Right.
So, that's what I mean, I think that simplest bookkeeping and personnel way to handle it, just give them that minimum time, 2 hours.
Linda, you had something?
Or hourly or non-exempt standard tax. Get over.
Right.
And they're supposed to pay for all the time spending at work. So they're supposed to work or if they're on the board and after, because they're hourly work. Your profession, more of a staff position. So that's.
Could it be?
So we pay them for putting their trunks on.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, could it be called portal to portal and prep? I mean,
And do you,
I
Claire,
should have done.
Claire, do you think that that's adequate? Do you think that's, what are your feelings?
Well, so prior to this, we've been putting in, we make them show up 15 minutes early. And they hang around for 15 minutes after, putting stuff away and everything like that. Sometimes it takes 15 minutes, sometimes it probably can take 5. But that gave them, that was my incentive for it. But
Give you no.
I feel like so I don't know, a half hour more, hour. It's better than it was, because then they can come in 10 minutes and get their clipboard,
I mean, we want to be kind of attractive to.
Yeah, right.
Where you're saying that if you only had one class per hours,
This would make that
as a minimum, would that motivate them
to come in.
only hour? Because hour of.
Yeah. I think that would motivate me. I mean, that's the hard thing. I mean, the world has changed a little bit.
I think what she's saying, but what you're saying is if they had to work for
3 hours.
Right.
Yeah, would they
Is
not
that what
want
you
to?
mean?
Would it just incentivize them for the longer shifts?
Work less because 3 hours, well.
But we only have like,
Paid for 2.
we have one. I mean, you have to be a lifeguard to do silver
Right.
fins, come in right after school for an hour, or lifeguard at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night for aquafit. So those I'm not worried about, because the lifeguards, definitely we need to make that an incentive. Okay, and then definitely we have to make the instructor an incentive, but we only have like one night of lessons. So the Saturday, if you want to make money, you need to come work the 4 or 5 hours on Saturday.
Right,
to
right.
Make that, so you get a paycheck. Otherwise, well, before they were just getting,
Yeah,
they were just getting nothing.
And your biggest problem is that
Yes.
you don't have any problems with.
Well, yeah, we have problems, but not as many.
Not as many.
Right, not as many. So, yeah.
So then maybe you want to go the premium way, and if you come in $5.
I like that.
To do.
I like
Yeah.
that.
And then they're automatically there for like 4 hours on the weekend, and it makes sense for them to
Right. The deal. So,
about it. Kind of like you said, the day shift, your premium kind of concept.
so with this, too, there's a place where on this punch thing, so if they're paid on Saturday, like we would have it say Saturday lessons, and that's what they would have Saturday, and then weekday premium or something like that is what we
Yeah.
would have.
Okay.
So then it would automatically switch to that pay.
Well, I say, you two, work it
Figure it
out.
out. I just wanted to get your permission, because I know it's a need. and
Okay,
we
so
talked about it,
that's the motion, right?
work it
Is
out.
give the motion. I'll make a motion to have Clara and Linda work out the block premium pay program.
Yeah, whatever makes the most sense.
Agree, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
That was a long one.
I know, sorry. Yeah. It seems so simple, but it's,
No, but you know, all of these things have little individual, you know, complications, and you know, we want people to be involved.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of involved, Porta John quotes.
Porta John. So HE, so we have a great Porta John company right
Yep.
now, but we know that we needed to look and see how much, or if we were, you know, at a good rate where we're at. So we put a quote out. These are the 4 companies that came back. And currently, we use Don's Little John's. They are a little bit higher than one of the bids that came in. But one thing that is super important to this community, or the comments that we get, besides the fact that they're reliable and come at a, whatever we call it, is the grate on the bottom of the portage, so that if there's an incident, accident, or whatever, it goes through the, so I do appreciate that. But we definitely, I don't know these other companies. What's that? Well, it's important.
No, how does this happen?
How does it
Waited too long to get to the.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Sometimes
The
intentional.
line was too long.
We do have the 4 companies. Lynn is here. She's the one who put this together. If you'd like to come up and talk about it. You need a copy of this? All right.
Do you have any questions about?
I don't know.
No, well, my only question would be, how we have 100 units, is that?
No.
Or, no,
No, we have less than that, but we have a continuation of units that are we have continuation of units year round. So,
okay,
so our bulk will,
summer,
our bulk is of course April, end of March, April till like October. And then we dummy down to keep them at the 5 of the parks. And we try to keep the bigger ones, the ADAs, at the parks for the people that are walking or, you know.
So, in looking at this, if I'm looking at it correctly, you've got regular units and ADA units, and the price is for that many units?
Correct. The price at the bottom is what we would monthly pay to each company. It's a month.
Right.
So basically all the companies that we have, they do come with a complimentary cleaning once a week. There are some times that we do have to bump our cleanings up on certain months because of the high traffic
right,
that we get
right.
at the parks for soccer and baseball and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's that. We did our quotes to make sure that we were still kind of in the same ballpark because we have been working with Don Don's for quite a bit of time. But they've been exceptional.
I mean, it kind of just looks like, though, if you break this down, you know, of what they're charging on a monthly basis and the number of units, they're all about the same.
Yes. Yes.
Because the one's cheaper, but you're talking 100 units, the other one's a little more, 105 units.
Yeah,
the other one's
it all
little
depends.
More, 110 units.
Yeah, it all depends. Like they charge differently for their regulars and their ADAs, and some of them are the same.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've never like divided this amongst more than one company?
We have not divided, no. We have not divided. We've working with Dons that we have, you know, they've gotten to know our parks.
Right.
We've been through a little vandalism with
them.
With
yes.
them. They've been they've been kind enough to still take on the same parks that have that vandalism, and still keep their units there instead of saying, hey, I'm done with this park.
Well, we have aided that by putting in cameras and things
Right,
like that.
and that,
So
yeah,
we're
and
trying
we
to
will
make
see
that
how,
situation.
yeah, hopefully we will see how, this spring and summer goes.
Did you want to, yeah. Did you want to come up to that?
Sorry, I didn't mean to hog it.
Hi, my name is Jason Blake, and I own Don's Little John's.
Okay.
Just one thing I wanted to put in you guys' head is there's a lot of service calls that we get for accidents. We don't ever charge. You won't get that from anybody else. We're always there that day or the next day. So I just wanted to put that in your heads. Our prices, like I said, we've never charged a service call, and we've always addressed as soon as we get that. And I know, I kind of know my competitors' rates, and they're going to charge you $40 to $75 to come out there, when you need a service call.
That's good to know. And how
Tip
often-
overs, in the wind, we don't ever charge. So
Sorry, I didn't recognize you.
That's okay.
I'm so used to Luke.
that's okay.
I know, I looked out there and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
my son is the one who
this guy was here.
services this area.
I talk to Luke almost every day.
I know.
And Madeline, we talk every day. He keeps me updated on stuff that, he
Yes.
cannot get to, and give an outstanding work. I can't say that.
Well, normally we don't get guests,
I wasn't sure.
I'm shocked. Yeah, I know. I was working today and then I just come out here, but
Yeah.
I was shocked that we're not the lowest because we haven't raised rates
No, I know.
in a long time.
Well, that's
And-
what scares me. I wonder sometimes, like,
When it's so low.
they're low to start
Yeah,
with, but
right.
then quickly go up after that.
but they're talking, that 3,000 is talking less units.
Right.
Yeah, a few.
Oh, no.
No,
I think that's
the
money.
unit price.
Per
Unit
unit.
is $100 per
Yes.
one.
Oh,
We
okay.
average, just so you know, I think it's around
Oh.
30. I counted really quick, so I
Yeah.
might be off or
Yeah, and
on.
then we sprinkle in like the last,
Don't say sprinkle in. Talk about,
then we,
Porta
ask,
johns.
can we get a unit out this?
Yeah.
And then it's there 24 hours or next day or that day of, like I said, they good to work. Yeah,
And another thing that we also do is, I know that you've requested to move a unit for a special event instead of charging for another unit. We just move it and don't charge anything. As long as Luke's out here in the summertime every Wednesday and Thursday, and then usually on Fridays delivering weekend units out in this area so he can address any problems on Fridays. But I know he stays in contact with you guys quite a bit. Madeline's my daughter. She runs the office, so.
Yeah, and I will say, just thinking back to previous meetings and conversations regarding the vandalism, you guys have been amazing, just
Yeah.
coming out and handling those things and continuing to allow us to have them in the parks.
And we
To be
also
honest,
sanitize.
'cause there were some that were bad.
We're also the only company that sanitizes top to bottom. Every other company just sprays them out with a hose and walks away. We actually hand wipe every wall, every ceiling, the tank. It's not a fun job.
No one ever says, oh, good, a porta john.
Yeah, now I only.
We get a lot of, that's not true. But we get a lot of compliments because of that grate, I'm telling you. But because of the cleanliness of them.
Yeah.
And because you do guys come out.
no, I know my wife has commented because, brings our granddaughter to the park and things like that, and they're always in good shape, so.
How long have you had the years?
Well, we were with another company before that, and actually when Don Don's just started, and you purchased Don
I
Don's
did.
off of the gentleman who started it before, and the service has remained in Excel. So I don't know the answer. 15,
Long time, there you go.
A long
10
time.
years.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've owned it for 7, so.
yeah.
and when
Well, it sounds like you got a good track.
Yeah. Very good.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
glad
Yeah.
you were here.
I don't see a reason to change something that's going well.
No, me neither.
It's a good work, it's working, it's a good
Lynn's the one that
working
works with 'em.
relationship. It's, if it was $10,000 difference in price, I would say, yeah, we need to talk about it, but
Is this something that we could say, like, we're good for 5 years before
Yes.
we go
Is this
new
a
other
long-term
quotes or
contract
longer?
or?
What did we bid it as?
We just, to get prices, we didn't give a year. We just did the pricing and no commitment for a year.
So this was basically then an RFP.
Yeah.
So we need to have a contract, right?
And we do.
Okay,
But I mean, a contract from our side.
well,
I mean, we have our vendor's contract, which, our vendor's packet that has all the information and they sign, so we can do that part of it. But I didn't know if you had to.
I mean, don't, like with the lawn care or things like that,
Yeah.
we have contract, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you probably have a contract.
What do we have right now?
What do we have
For
right
the
now?
lawn care?
No, for,
No.
Oh,
for-
or, well, it's ongoing.
Renewed every year.
Yeah.
well,
So, like, if we don't have to keep them, like, if they were horrible,
right,
then the next year or during that year, I would come and tell you they were horrible and we should do that.
I think we just need to be consistent with whatever's in the purchasing agreement,
Right.
right? That's
Okay.
what we're getting at.
doesn't
is-
Dan get on us about? I know he's not here.
Yeah. Oh, I was lost. I can grab that.
Typically with other municipalities, kind of go by a 5-year, and then kind of, as long as we don't raise our rates, they kind of take it to their board every years. And like I said, as long as we don't raise our rates, we do.
Well, I know that's what we did with the lawn, or the grass cutting service and stuff. We did a 3-year, and, that, but it's 1 year at a time, and if everything is good, we just renew it, and, I mean, I'm thinking we should do something like that for this.
I just don't know if it should be for some reason, 2 years is sticking in my head that the
So
purchasing
the lawn
agreement
care
states.
one right now, was 2 years, option of a 3rd year.
Okay,
So, that's why it's not in this package.
Everything was
They've been
fine.
working.
Okay.
They've been working.
but I'm just saying, the purchasing
Yeah.
guidelines,
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying. If we're able to go with 5 years, I'd be happy to do that. What I'm not sure of is, is there a reason we have to get it quoted more often?
I don't think so. But
Could do 5 years and with,
annual,
Yeah.
yearly review and renewal.
Yeah, annual reviews
Okay.
before renewing.
Save us putting out for bid.
I'm just, for some reason, my brain is going to an email we received when I first started from Cindy Knight
Okay.
about violating our purchasing agreement. And it had something to do with the length of time. That's my only concern. I have no concern with
Well,
approving it, so. And I may be confusing it with something else.
You got me confused.
That's the goal.
Yep.
You could do a 1-year contract or option.
But if we do that in the contract, I know the other, like the lawn care bids and things like that, they put in increases each year. You know, they put in like a 3% or, you know,
That's a,
I know, yeah.
if he's willing to lock it in for 5 years, then
Well, yeah,
willing to lock it for 5? 1-year contract with 4 renewal.
I'm not finding, I'm sorry, I'm really
Okay.
reading it.
It's okay. I think we'd be
Yeah.
safe going with that option. So I'll make a motion to approve John's Little John's for $3,375 a month, correct?
yes,
For a 1-year contract with the option for 4 years of renewal.
Second.
roll call when you get around to it, Phyllis.
Mr. Karas,
Yes.
Getter,
Yes.
and Fuda,
Yes.
Debs,
Yes.
and Mr.
Yes,
Carries.
So there is about awarding contracts for spring services or including professional services, just to make sure.
yeah,
Okay.
to make sure that we have a contract,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. So that's, we need
Yeah.
the contract, right?
Yep. So, is he done?
Real quick.
Are you, yeah, do we get the contract from him?
Well, every year you send the list of porta-johns that we need, but we do have a vendor's packet that has the contracts in it. So we will make sure, and I believe accounting sends out or has you send out. Yeah.
Optional renewal.
Right. Right, but I will take what we have in our vendors,
Yes.
which he already has the majority of it filled out, if we don't.
Now, is that year-round? You, oh, okay, less units, yeah, yeah,
No, but not 30 units.
right, right,
Or 30 plus.
okay,
Thank
sounds
you.
good.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Sorry, I didn't recognize you.
Star overhang,
Start, oh, so
were you not finished with the last?
the, okay, so the bid went out, and I don't know, if you looked at it, when they came in way more than in the fall, than when we took what we had talked. But, Brent has submitted the letter, and basically, what he thinks that we should do is take the bid for CBS or
Yeah, CBX.
CBX, and go with that and do the pavement and that part of it. And then he's going to try to figure out how, or we'll rebid or negotiate, like that CBS, or who'd you say, CBX?
CBX.
Sorry. He can build it if maybe we purchase the,
Overhang,
the materials, if we do electric differently, you know, there's different ways that we could save and do this without completely rebidding out for that overhang part of it. If you are okay with, like, taking the lowest bid for the parking lot part, so we can start that, and then that needs to be completed first anyways.
right,
So, and then I will come back to you with additional information for the overhang portion.
So this does not include anything for the overhang, correct? Numbers?
Can I see the little
Yeah, I
numbers?
can't read it.
I know.
How much
They're
is
really
it?
itty bitty. They're really itty bitty.
might have to do with the landscape, but it would be a lot.
Yeah, this does not appear to have anything to do with the structure.
No. Because they were up in 90,000 plus.
Right.
That company was.
Which is way more. Yeah.
Yeah. So their 59,000 is for the pave.
Just the paving.
Yeah, 59.
Recommendation on the
Yeah.
pavement? And the pavement was just, was he recommending the one that?
Yeah, 59, yeah, the
59, yeah.
CBX for the 59.
Yeah, that's just for the,
Yeah. Well, it's not just paving it, I mean, it is,
oh, it's taking.
it needs grading.
Oh, it's a structural.
Right, right.
Structural.
Gotta take out
Stuff.
some drag.
The cement is being replaced in front of our barn as well, because it's all choked.
The blacktop cement.
So, our parking lot is all blacktop except for in front of our barn. It was good cement when we were doing that, so we kept it. Good cement, I don't like that.
Got
So, it's also, good at cement there because the Star buses are constantly going over it, so that doesn't help it, but it helped it remain back for longer.
So what you're looking for is a motion to approve them CBX to start and do the pavement portion now, and we'll revisit the structure portion at a later date, once Brent gets numbers. I'll make a motion that we go with the recommendation of the engineer to use CBX, right?
Yes.
CBX, and for the specific work for the parking lot addition paving, and not to exceed $60,000. Huh?
59,114.50 plus 59,11.45, 10% fee.
Oh, okay.
Plus the fee for Gibbles Webster.
So the 7,000, oh, okay, so,
That total, whatever.
okay, that looks like
I can get.
70,000, right?
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed 70,000.
Okay.
I'll second.
Roll call when you get there.
Mr. Billick,
Yes.
Dembski,
Yes.
Ms. Judah,
Yes.
Getter,
Yes.
Carey.
Yes.
Okay, so updates, the grass bed, I kind of already talked about that we will do bids again
Next year, right.
for another year with the contractors that we have. And then the spring 26 one source, that's a printer.
Oh.
So it should be out, actually it'll probably be out right at the end of February or the first week of March. So that will be good. And then for Crystal Diamond that we added, North Macomb Community Soccer, they have funds that they would like to put up the 9 light poles out on the soccer portion of Diamonds. And they have contracts and they're working on all of that, to do that. So at the same time, we also would like to look at possibly putting lights on all fields that are out there, or at least see what the cost would be. So, Chris
Do what? I
moving,
missed that, I was ready.
to put lights at Crystal Crystal Diamonds on the soccer field with Parks and Rec, with no cost to Parks and Rec. Unless we share a cost, we end up doing the right thing
Expanding.
for the ball fields.
Right.
He did get verbal approval from the gentleman at Macomb County. He needs
Okay.
to give that to
Give
us.
that in writing.
I know.
Yes.
So, that's coming before, obviously, anything can start. But that was half the battle because I was having a hard time trying to find out who they're, because we just need some type of approval from them.
Right.
So it's kind of in motion. I'll find out more information and I'll bring that.
Okay, great, thanks.
They have one with the magazine, One Source.
Yes.
I'm sure Matt talked.
You guys leaving? Well, yeah, we're gonna come back, say goodbye.
Yeah, will you sit in the hallway?
I don't want to put that pressure on you to get us
Right.
back in
Right.
here.
So I was just, because of Matt leaving, and I know that Matt, for anybody that doesn't know, Matt December is leaving WBRW. So he and I had a conversation about the One Source thing, and he was concerned because he, the one who bugs Mr. Prabiti to get his materials ready. So I just want to make sure you have someone in place to do that instead of Matt.
So Washington Township. Oh, hopefully Sam does. Sam originally had talked about peak.
Yeah.
You know, but really each group individually.
Yeah, I think for something like that, we want some independent, but.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean,
no-
he could always reach out to Karina and pay her separately to, if she contracted.
Hoping he doesn't. I'm taking the position
I know,
temporarily.
think you're gonna do it?
Very temporarily.
I know.
Hoping he doesn't think I'm gonna, because I'm not. So
You don't
I
know.
just wondered. So you thought,
Well, yeah,
Okay.
well,
You thought about it?
waiting for the, but I know that he does know how to do, that too.
Yeah.
And it is a template, I mean, Matt and Karina and Lisa from the library really set everybody up, but, it's just a matter of the timeline.
making him do
So,
it.
Yeah.
We have the same problem, because he does a monthly update on our station, and we, on Facebook, that, and, you know, he had, up till now, Matt has gone in there and browbeat him to get it done. Sometimes.
Matt will be missed.
Right. So.
Can't get away from these
Yeah, I'm
groups,
gonna
can you?
duct tape the tape. I told him he couldn't leave.
I don't have any.
Okay, well, then I will make a motion that we go into closed session to discuss the Washington Agreement. And all in favor? Aye. Okay.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
I did.
Riley, we're gonna go into closed session. closed session. And we're going to make a motion and remind me what, I'd like to make a motion to send the revised lease discussed in closed session with the schematic of the Washington Township Hall to our attorney for final review and submission to Washington Township Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're up.
We have a tentative meeting on March 12th
Yay.
I saw that.
at 3 or 3:30.
Okay,
I'll let you know.
When is
okay.
it?
March, we have a tentative, I'm still waiting for final confirmation, but we have a tentative meeting for March 12th.
For the Romeo.
For the, yep.
And I do have a question, Clara, on, am I thinking right that we do not have like an agreement with the county for Crystal Diamond?
We do.
Oh, we do,
Yeah.
okay, so,
It's $1 a year.
right,
for-
so that's okay. I just wanted to make, before the soccer club,
Yeah,
if they're gonna put,
but that's half of it, is that we have to ask permission.
right, okay, cool, thank you. All right, community comment. Nobody
They
out
all
there,
left
they
us.
all left us. Commission comments.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't really have much, other than I like seeing this big progress we're starting to make. I feel like finally we're gaining some momentum, and I'm excited to see what the future brings.
I agree.
Michelle?
I agree.
All
All
right.
good.
I think things are moving along well. I like that we're also having some employee engagement with the HR company and things like that, and we're moving in the right direction, and Clara and her staff are doing a wonderful job. And that's all I have to say. Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, wait a minute.
Did you say aye too?
No.